Welcome back to Ready Steady Play, and we're going to be playing party games today. We're going to start with Secret Hitler. I've got my friends here. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Ollie. Played a couple of the Ready Steady plays before. You might have seen them. Galaxy Trucker.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible.
I'm Thomas, and I am a connoisseur of games. Somewhat. I don't know. I like games.
I'm Mike. You'll recognize me from all the videos, probably.
I'm Kim, and I'm here to play some games.
I'm Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm Gary. I'm here to play games.
Gary, you've just been playing Flick 'em Up and Lost Patrol on the channel already.
Yeah.
That went well. I've been enjoying putting those out. So we've got a rather special game, and this actually came via Kickstarter in September. This is the first time I've managed to get it on the table, so I haven't even played it yet. But I've played The Resistance. If anyone's encountered The Resistance party game, this is not dissimilar to that. This is in fact the follow-up from the guys who do Cards Against Humanity. It's called Secret Hitler. I'm not a huge Cards Against Humanity fan, to be honest. In fact, I actively avoid it where possible. But I love The Resistance, and I wish there was sort of some more going on in The Resistance. So I'm quite excited to try this variation. There's a few key differences. So this is Secret Hitler, and it's a World War II. Well, it's not World War II. It's the lead up.
Mid-war.
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me out with this one, Ollie, because you are the history buff here.
Thanks for putting me on the pedestal.
Yeah,
I enjoy falling off of it.
it's time to use that degree. Here's the rules. Ooh, hang on to that for
Age
me,
of
Tom.
17 plus, very specific.
They know their
I
audience.
think it's. I mean, I don't know why.
They know their audience.
I suppose it's because it's a bit sort of controversial, right? There's nothing. I don't think there's anything in the game that's particularly
Dark or...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what was I playing the other day? I was playing Escape the Aliens from Outer Space. The art in that is super dark. But the art in this is fine. It's all quite caricatured. There's no... All of the fascists are actually animals. There's no... Whereas all the liberals have sort of like realistic human art. The fascists are all sort of animals. And Secret Hitler's actually a lizard. So we've got all these different fascist boards here, and you'll use different fascist boards depending on how many players you've got, because there's special powers that are unlocked as fascist policy is enacted by the government. And we're going to use the 5 to 6 player variant. So this variant should actually be, given the number of players we've got, be quite generous to the liberals, because the way it's going to work is that there's going to be 4 liberals and 2 fascists, one of which is Secret Hitler. In a 5-player group, there would be the same distribution. With 7, what happens is you get another fascist, and actually the player who's playing as Secret Hitler doesn't know who the other 2 fascists are, which is quite an interesting dynamic. But you need at least 7 for that, and we couldn't fit that many around my table.
I just don't even get that many friends.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. This is the full contingent. All of the friends are here tonight. So here are the policy tiles. You can see we've got some liberal policies and some fascist policies there. And you'll be drawing 3 of these at random every round for the government to consider. This is the election tracker. If there's 3 failed elections, then a piece of policy is automatically enacted. What we've got here is the president plaque. This will go to the president. It's also got a sort of a rules summary on the back.
Good. It's like a placard. It's good.
This is I don't know how much of this comes in the sort of the full box version of this game, or even if it. Do you know? I don't even know if this is actually going to come out for purchase, or if this is just it. Like if you miss the Kickstarter, you can't get it.
So very
That's really bad. I should have looked that up because
very Secret Hitler.
well, the thing is as well though, it's licensed under Creative Commons, which means that if you know someone who's got a copy of this game, they could actually just like make you a copy. I mean, this lends itself to sort of print and play structure, really.
But that's basically how Cards Against Humanity worked as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
They let you download it, so maybe that was the point. They just did a run to get it out there and...
Yeah, exactly. So the Kickstarter sort of entitles you to the produced copy of the game, and then after that, if you want to play it, you just got to kind of make up your own one. I mean, you could literally just proxy all of this stuff with most other game components anyway. So you've also got your chancellor placard here, and this has got some other rules stuff going on in the back here. It says, how the fascists win. They've got to. They only win by electing Hitler as chancellor if at least 3 fascist policies have already been enacted. Right, that's to remind you that if Hitler's the chancellor while the third piece of fascist policy is enacted, the fascists don't win yet. Hitler has to become the chancellor again after that. But I'm getting ahead of myself because that's what we've got here is some secret roles. So some cards here. We've got secret role cards. So these will tell you whether you're a liberal or a fascist or whether you are in fact the secret Hitler.
I love the pictures.
It's good, isn't it?
Can we see the artwork over this side?
Yeah, wait, will you show those up to the camera for me, Ollie?
I did love it. It is actually a lizard. Lizard Hitler. And a snake. Really angry looking snake as well. A toad.
It's great artwork.
Yeah, this is really impressive. I'm not too sure what that is. It looks kind of like one of the creatures from Call of Cthulhu. And then just an ordinary person. Another ordinary person. Very happy as well. Someone who looks very much like a gangster, which is very funny for a liberal. I mean,
Well, I like the
not
little
1930s
envelopes,
American
actually.
gangster.
I like the design of this. I just really.
Yeah, I really like these little envelopes. I mean, I think that they're completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
But
But theme and
I think they're
props.
yeah. So you can put your secret cards into the envelopes. So we've got those secret roles. Now, what you also have actually is this party allegiance card here. And this will show fascist or liberal on it. And this is because there are these special powers that are unlocked as fascist policy is enacted. And one of the first powers that the president will gain from the fascist policy is to check the party membership of someone at the table, which doesn't include their role. So they'll know whether they're a fascist or a liberal, but not whether they're the secret Hitler. And then finally, you've got these ballot cards, because these are ballot cards here, and they say yeah or nine. Very conscientious.
Yes or no? That is.
Which way round?
They do have the translations on the cards. And everyone will get a set of those, because the way the game works is that someone will start off as the president, and the president will choose a chancellor, and then we'll all vote on the government. And if we like the government, we'll vote yeah, and yes. And if we don't like the government, we'll vote no.
Is it a secret or an
9.
open?
So
Is the ballot secret?
it can be.
Or do we just hold them up in front of everybody?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't actually
It
know.
must be secret, right? And then you must be able to shuffle it up and then see what the votes are. Cause
But then
otherwise
surely
they'll-
everyone would have to ask for their card back at the end.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for voting the government, yeah, maybe.
I think
maybe
voting the
it's,
government in
available.
is, I think that is
For everyone to
known
see.
information.
Okay.
As usual, we're checking the rules on Ready City Play on camera.
Just edit it out.
Right, there's also a catch that the person who was last elected president and chancellor are term limited, which means that they cannot become the chancellor the term after that. So the president will continue to pass around the table as normal, but the chancellor is chosen by the president. The president can't pick someone who's just the president or chancellor.
We
last round.
reveal them all simultaneously.
Yep. So the voting is revealed simultaneously. That's
Everybody votes
public.
There's also on the president plaque, it has a little summary of all of this, just to remind you that you can't nominate a chancellor or a former president for the next term, and also says don't speak while in session, so you don't get to make anything, but you can lie, which is kind of cool. But after a policy is enacted, you may discuss or lie about what policies you drew, discarded, and passed.
Right. So the policies are hidden information. The president will draw 3 policies.
Yep.
Yep. Shuffle those up, but pass me 2 of them. Just one of each. So you've got these liberal and fascist policies here. And these will be face down like that, so we won't see which ones are which. And the president will draw 3. He'll or she'll choose one to discard, and then pass the remaining 2 to the chancellor, who will choose the final one to enact. And then once it's enacted, it will be revealed and placed here on the government policy board like this. And the way the Liberals win is by enacting either 5 pieces of liberal legislation or by assassinating the secret Hitler. The way the fascists win is either by enacting 6 pieces of fascist legislation or having Hitler elected chancellor by the president after 3 pieces of fascist policies have been enacted. There are, following the first 2 policies, there are special powers here that are sort of, the president will get these special powers. So what will happen is when the 3rd piece of fascist policy is enacted, the person who is the president of that government will immediately be able to check the party membership of one person at the table. And they have to do it immediately. The next time the 4th piece of fascist policy is enacted, the president immediately chooses someone at the table who is killed. That person is killed outright, and all they do is reveal whether or not...
Just caught something. Carry on.
Uh-oh, it's all the poison from...
So is it when it's enacted?
But I got to live.
It's not every turn. It's just
It's not
when that's
every
enacted,
turn.
The president goes
Yep.
bang.
When that symbol is covered up by the fascist article, the president chooses someone at the table, and that person is
You're
killed.
dead.
They can, of course, talk to other people at the table and sort of deliberate over whether or not they want who to kill and everything. But and once that person's killed, all they reveal is whether or not they were Hitler. If they were Hitler, the Liberals win. If they were not Hitler, we find out no further information, and the game continues with that person taking no further part in the game because they're dead. Which means it can swing the balance of the voting, because what's going to happen with 6 of us here is we're going to have 4 liberals, 1 fascist, and 1 secret Hitler who is also a fascist. Which means that the voting is going to be very much in favor of the liberals. But, you know, they've got to do all the deduction. I mean, for the liberals, it's kind of like solving a logic puzzle. And for the fascists, it's about being sneaky. You want to act like a liberal as much as you can. I mean, bearing in mind that, you know, we're going to be voting on these articles here, and sometimes you might just draw 3 fascist policies. You might have, you know, but the other thing is, because the president and the chancellor are the only ones that see the policies, they could just lie about what those are. You know, so there's all kinds of sort of opportunity to misdirect. But you can't be too obvious about it, because if you're just evil from the get-go, everyone will figure you out and you'll be screwed.
Well, I suppose it would help if on the first term the chancellor and the president are both the fascists, and they're just like, oh, we just drew 3 fascist ones, so there's no thing. You have to have one.
There are more fascist policies than liberal ones.
Oh, are there?
Yeah.
Ah. So it could actually happen quite a lot.
Yeah.
So if the government is voted on, if the government fails 3 times, what happens is we turn over the top policy of the draw pile and enact it immediately, no matter what it is. And then the election tracker is reset, and the process continues. There's also a veto power that comes into effect after the 5th fascist policy is being activated. And the veto power gives... what happens is the president will discard a policy as normal, pass the remaining 2 policies to the chancellor. The chancellor and the president, during this process, I forgot to mention, during this process they can't talk at all. Not even at any point. So the president just chooses one, discards it, no talking, gives the other 2 to the chancellor, who also chooses one to enact without saying a thing. And then afterwards you can talk as much as you like. But the important thing is the president and the chancellor don't collude. So what happens here is, after the 5th fascist policy is enacted, the veto power comes into effect, where, in fact, the chancellor can talk to the president, but all he can say is, I want to veto these policies. And if the president says, I agree, let's veto it, the policies are discarded, and I believe that and then the president placard moves on as normal. So it's kind of like the government not being voted in, except they've just sort of vetoed their own policies. but that's the only time they can talk, and I guess they would only do that if, say, the chancellors, that maybe they're both the fascists and they've got liberals or policies, or maybe they're both liberals and they've got all fascist policies. But again, that only comes into effect here, so it's quite unlikely that we'll actually get that far, given that we've only got 2 fascists anyway.
That sounds good.
Does everyone feel sort of confident that they know the rules?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.